Watch this card trick. Pretty good. All right, we got a deck of cards here. Once again, as usual, it's a deck that can be shuffled by you or your spectator. It can be cut. They can make a mess of it if they want to. But here's what's going to happen. We're going to spread the deck out like this once we're satisfied that the deck is shuffled. And we're going to let the spectator pull out any card they want, but not even look at it. So let's just say they do this. They can put their hand right on it like that if you want. And here's what you're going to do. You say, I'm going to try and figure out what your card is without even looking at it. And you haven't even looked at it. You haven't even looked at it. I'm going to figure it out. Here's how I'm going to do it. I want you to know that I've got this whole deck memorized. This is what I mean. I'm going to use a process of elimination. For example, I know that your card is not the 5 of spades because I can see it right here. So I know you don't have the 5 of spades. But that still leaves me 51 other choices. And I'm going to see if I can figure out what your card is. Watch. Oh yeah, I can see right now. Had to be the 9 of diamonds. Yep, your card is definitely the 9 of diamonds. You know why? Because there's no 9 of diamonds in this deck. Look, when I flipped it over, I didn't know if you noticed or not because I was kind of fast, but there is no 9 of diamonds in the deck. The reason why there's no 9 of diamonds is because it's over here. Pretty good, right? Let's do the same trick a little differently though, okay? Put the card back. Again, cards can be shuffled. They can be mixed up. They can be cut. They can be shuffled by anybody. And what we're going to do is just spread the cards out. You can do it this way too if you want, but I like using a close-up mat. Here we're going to go like this. I'm going to ask my spectator to slide out any card, and again, not look at it. Let's say they take this one. Put your hand on it so I can't get to it. Okay, they can put their hand down on it. Now look, I'm not even going to turn the card over, the deck over. I'm just going to do something that's really, really difficult. I'm just going to go by the weight of the deck. And I'm going to kind of feel it like this and go, yeah, it's definitely a little lighter, one card lighter, obviously. But which card? Which card is this deck missing? Well, it's a dark card, I can tell, because it's a little bit heavier. I think it's a black card. Not too high, not too low, somewhere in the middle. I think the card that's missing from this deck is a 7 of spades. Let's see if I'm right. See, is there a 7 of spades in here somewhere? No, because it's right there. Okay, that's the same trick, but different, all right? Now, I'm going to show you a third card trick. These are just really fast. And then I'll show you what I'm doing, okay? Once again, we've got a shuffled deck. And we're going to go like this. And this time, I'm going to ask the spectator to shuffle up the cards and cut the cards as many times as they want to. Let's say they cut the cards there. And then once they're satisfied with shuffling and cutting, let's say now before we do anything, before you even pick a card, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to get another deck of cards. And I'm going to find a matching card that I think is going to be the card that you'll end up choosing. So this is my prediction. Here's the shuffled deck. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick a number between 1 and 10, we'll say. It could be whatever, 1 and 20. Let's say they pick a number between 1 and 10. And here's what I want you to do. You give them some instructions. I want you to take the deck in your hand like this. And I want you to count down that number. So what's your number? Let's say they pick 7. Doesn't matter. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when you get to the 7th card, I want you to flip it straight face up, okay? Be the first time we see a face up card, that will be your chosen card. And here's what they'll do. They'll pick up the deck and they'll go down, they said 7, so they'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. And that will be their freely chosen card. They shuffle the deck, they cut the deck, they pick the number, they count down to it, right? And yet somehow, long before we did all that, I made a prediction that matches perfectly. Now, I just showed you 3 card tricks that all work the same way. Same secret. Would you like to learn that secret? All right, let's do it. So, can you imagine as a card magician if you could take a deck of cards and shuffle them up, right, like we've been doing, and let your audience shuffle them and cut them up, and then spread them, and no matter what card anybody selects, just imagine, no matter what card anybody selects, you already know what it is before they've even looked at it. Is that even possible? Actually, it is. This card is the 10 of clubs. And I only know that because of this secret that I'm using to do all these tricks with. Once you know this secret and have this gimmick, you can do hundreds, if not thousands, of card tricks. You can make up your own card tricks with this amazing secret. And you probably, if you've been around Magic for long enough, you may have guessed what this secret is, but I'm using a special deck. A deck that's called a marked deck. That's right. It's my favorite marked deck in the whole world. There's a whole bunch of them. In fact, I've got a collection of marked decks because I've been doing Magic for a long time. This is my favorite marked deck. It's called a reader. That means that all you have to do is look at the back and I can see, without doing any kind of a calculating or any staring at the card, I can see immediately that card's an 8 of hearts. And I didn't even have to barely look at it because of the kind of markings that are on this deck. And yet, even though I've been using this deck for many, many, many years, no one has ever seen the markings. They have to know the secret to see the markings. And that's what I've been doing with these 3 card tricks. And of course, like I said, once you have a marked deck, my goodness, there's lots of things you can do. Now, there's different kinds of marked decks. In fact, some of them, this is another marked deck. This is a really cool deck because it looks like old cards. I really like this deck because it fans really beautifully. But these are hard to get, and they're also kind of expensive. These can be $20, $25, $30 a deck. For a really good marked deck, you're going to pay $20 to $30. This was also a marked deck. The one that I used for the prediction card, it just happens to also be, this is my second favorite marked deck in the whole world because it's so easy to read. That's a 6 of hearts, right? Super easy to read, but no one else can see the markings. But they don't make those anymore. And when they did, they're kind of expensive. They're like $25 or $30. If you have my Card Magic training kit, I show you how to make your own marked deck out of a regular bicycle. Just a regular bicycle deck, rider back. But it takes a while. It's kind of intricate, but it's fun to do if you are into that sort of thing. So you can take a regular deck, turn it into a marked deck. But if you really want the best marked deck, in my opinion, it's the one I've been using. It's this one. Some marked decks aren't readers. They don't just say 10 of hearts or 6 of clubs on the back. That's what a reader does. Some marked cards have like a little coding system in the design or the shape, and you kind of have to calculate, kind of like looking at an analog clock sometimes, and you kind of go, is the hand over here and is the dot over there, and you have to do a little calculation, so it takes a little longer to read that kind of a marked deck. But a reader back like this is fantastic. It's what I've been using. Plus, I'm old, if you haven't noticed, and I don't have perfect vision, so I like to see the backs of the cards, and I want to see the card immediately. That's why I love this marked deck. The other thing I like about it, they're 10 bucks. You know, I mean, it's an amazing deck of cards, 10 bucks. If you want one, you can go to trapdoormagic.com and get a marked deck. If you get it from trapdoormagic.com, you'll also get access to a bunch of videos that I've made of tricks you can do with the marked deck. Now, the other thing about a marked deck is if you are used to doing cards with tricks with regular cards, when you add a marked deck into it, it just makes it that much better. If you start to combine other card tricks with a marked deck, you can call it an extreme version of that trick. In other words, if you know how to force a card, and I have some videos about that, and you combine that with marking, the sky's the limit. It's unbelievable what you can do. So highly recommend you get a marked deck. This is my favorite one. You'd be amazed at the things you can do. It's really a lot of fun. So enjoy that, and I hope you get a marked deck, and I hope you have a lot of fun with it.